I've been in Yellowstone for the past 4 days, but I'm not leaving Wyoming just yet. My family and I are heading to Grand Teton National Park next. We thought we'd seen it all, but apparently not, because the views, hikes, and wildlife that we saw in these next 2 days were unbelievable. We weren't planning on seeing the visitor center and Mammoth hot springs, but you definitely should. There are several realistic exhibits of bear and elk, and that's because they used taxidermy. So apparently some bison can be to 6 feet tall. This is how tall or short they are compared to bison. Yeah, that guy's out. Maybe I can take down a mountain lion based on this alone, and only this. That was the last thing that we saw in Yellowstone, and now we are going to Grand Teton National Park, which is about 2.5 hours away. The first place that we went to was Mormon Row, which is easily one of the most iconic parts of Grand Teton National Park. This place used to be a Mormon settlement, and now it's a really cool photo opportunity. You get to look at all the guest cabins and the barns and kind of imagine how people must have been living here. There were actually 2 people getting married at that barn. I hope I didn't come in their pictures, but then again, there were a lot of people right next to the barn and they were getting married right in front of it. Maybe we all just will make it to their wedding album. Please. I said sorry. Asmi, please. You're gonna have to let me. Asmi is currently not really talking to me right now because she took a ton of pictures of me for a potential thumbnail, and I didn't really like how any of them turned out. So, and I've been told I was rude. Yeah, okay, I'm done now. Yes, please. Oh, this is so embarrassing. This should look good with the ponytail. Yellowstone only has around 100 meese, but Grand Teton has around 400 to 500, so I really want to and need to see a moose, because we've pretty much seen most of the other animals that are seen in these places, but not a moose yet. As we made our way around the 42-mile scenic loop drive, we got closer and closer to the Tetons, and somehow they got even prettier. I mean, that's probably what people think of me. Mount Moran Point. Moran Point. Do we think we're gonna see a moose today? I want to say yes because last time I said no and I was pessimistic. We're gonna be positive today and say yes. Do you think we're gonna see a moose? No. Do you think we're gonna see a moose? Ask me. I hope so. So I'm gonna go with yes. Mom, do you think we're gonna see a moose?
Yes.
We are at Schwabacher Landing. I mean, there are so many mosquitoes, or whatever these insects are. It's crazy. We didn't end up seeing any moose, but you have to go anyways because this is easily one of the best views that I've ever seen. It's such a crystal clear reflection of the clouds in the lake, and so many people were lined up, especially photographers, to get probably what I would consider one of the best photos in the park. We are going to We are going to Moose Wilson Road, praying that we see at least one moose. I mean, it's called Moose Wilson Road. Either we're gonna see moose or Wilson. Like, come on, I want to see moose.
I want to see Wilson.
Maybe Ohio
Don't jinx it. No moose. We may not have seen a moose, but these silhouettes of the Tetons are honestly a sight of their own. Not the worst way to end a day. Good morning, everyone. We are kind of in the middle of nowhere right now, so let me recap yesterday's events. This is just a blemish patch. Ignore it. Stopped by at a Target just to restock on some groceries, and this place was like an hour and 30 minutes away from that, so we got here really late. We got here around 11 p.m. It was pitch black, essentially. Couldn't really see much, and we also were not expecting this. I don't know how. We thought we were going to a hotel. Turns out it's like separate units are part of one lodge, and we were not expecting that. Some people in my family were definitely a little bit freaked out about if there were bears nearby, because, you know, there are mountains like right next to us, so they were a little bit worried about if we walked outside our car that late at night, if a bear would come or anything like that. And it took a lot to just calm everyone down and realize that nothing is gonna happen. I'm living for this whole middle of nowhere experience, and just so it's like very unique from any other type of accommodation we've stayed in, so I loved this. I will show you the inside of it later. Here's a quick lodge tour as promised. I'm sure you can see how cozy it looks, and just imagine if some of the lights weren't turning on, how spooky and scary it would look. Up those stairs with no light on, yeah, that's not happening. These are two more beds. You can't really stand up, and I'm not even tall. So here you can actually look downstairs. This is what it looks like from the bottom floor, kind of like a Romeo and Juliet balcony type look. My mom looks adorable here. We didn't get to spend a lot of time here, basically spent the entire day out and then just came back to go to sleep. I had a dream that I saw 2 moose. I'm hoping that it wasn't just a dream and it was more like fortune telling. The parking lot for Jenny Lake is completely full. Now we're trying to find a spot kind of outside, alongside the road. But they were not kidding when they said that this place gets crowded really quickly. My mom was reading facts about grizzly bears, and then we paused and we're like, wait, why does this sound like the plot of the Berenstain Bears? And it's because it was. Like, Papa Bear is not actually the carpenter of their family. Papa Bear is an absent father who leaves the children, and Mama Bear takes care of them. Desperation for parking. Literally, if he scooted back in the road, he's in trouble. This is a real grizzly bear carcass that some park rangers found, and the claws are so terrifying when you're that close next to them. Definitely would not give a high five to a grizzly bear, but that's just me. The fur wasn't really as soft as a teddy bear's. It was more thick and coarse. Just casual, no problem. We are on the boat, getting started. We're going to Cascade Canyon now. The shuttle across Jenny Lake might be kind of short, but it's one of the best ways to get a view of the mountains and the lake. Also, it takes off a lot of hiking time. I hate standing up for long periods of time, so at the dock, I momentarily got lightheaded for like 5 seconds and I had to sit down. I just think, like, really, like, of course that happens to me. Everyone else was fine. This is Hidden Falls. If you love the sound of flowing water, you will stay here for a good 10 minutes minimum.
Embarrassing because we're from Chicago, so it should be. Okay, but this is actually cold. No,
but no one else.
Well, also in Chicago, no one is wearing this. So.
But no one here is struggling, except for us.
Well, they're not wearing this.
Stopping point is going to be Inspiration Point. Look at the mountains just peeking out from behind the canopies. At Inspiration Point, not only is the view beautiful from here, but there are so many chipmunks. It's so entertaining. Some people are trying to feed them water, and they're not really taking it, but I just think it's so funny. There's like 4 of them just running around, and they're not scared of coming close to people. I was sitting down, and one of them came really close to me, looked straight at me. It was scary, and I don't know why I'm scared of something that small, but it's so scary. June, so not all of the snow has finished melting yet, so a lot of the water in the creek is coming from the ice and the glacier from on top of these mountains. If you've been keeping up, you know how desperate I've been to see a moose. So I really, really want to and need to see a moose. Praying that we see at least one moose. Turns out it wasn't just a dream. We finally saw our first moose ever. You know those moments that you really hype up in your head and then they finally happen, but you're kind of underwhelmed? This was definitely not one of those moments. The moose was sitting down the entire time, not doing anything different, but we stayed and watched for 10 minutes because we couldn't believe this was happening. I just saw a moose. I can't believe it.
You can see it chewing big time.
I literally was not going to leave Wyoming until I saw a moose. And now everyone will be happy to know that I don't want to watch this away. They won't let me back on the show. Have told us it was a moose, we would have probably missed it because it was hidden between those 2 trees. People coming back have said that they've seen 2 moose and we're pretty close to that, so we are just looking for that. Sure enough, we spotted the moose. One of them was hiding behind the bush, but you can still clearly see that it's there, and the second one was really close by. It was so quiet because no one wanted to scare away the moose. Turning around right now, there's still a lot more left of the Cascade Canyon hike, but we have seen 3 moose, so we are more than happy when we're turning around. Yeah. The moose was so close, my binoculars were making it look way too magnified. The craziest part is this isn't even a full-grown male moose. Those are even taller and their antlers are even larger. I could watch that moose forever, but my family has left me behind, so I have to catch up. I thought my mom was behind me, so I was really excited. I was like, oh my gosh, do you feel the drops? It's gonna rain. Turn around and it's this complete stranger, but I mean, she was sweet and she smiled, but I was just like, imagine if I would have said something super embarrassing. It's hard to put into words how impressive and grand the Tetons look when you're right in front of them. The sun is setting on Grand Teton National Park, and as the final rays of the day pierce the peaks of the Tetons, I can't think of a better way to conclude our trip to Wyoming. It is unfortunately our last day in Wyoming today, and we are going to be leaving from Jackson Hole Airport. Or at least that's what we thought. Then I got a notification from United saying that our flight had been canceled, and I'm not gonna lie, when I first read that, I was actually really excited because I thought it meant that we were getting a whole extra day in Wyoming. But little did I know that just meant a long road trip to Idaho. There were no other flights available that day, so our only option was to catch a flight from Idaho Falls that was going to take us to Denver, and from there we would go to Chicago. So it was a whole thing. We ended up taking a joint taxi with some other people who also had canceled flights, and I ended up falling asleep for the most part. But yeah, we went through Potato Land and we got to see it's some of the most beautiful scenery, so honestly it did double up as a road trip. Literally the only ones here. I think I need to give Idaho potatoes another try because they were pretty average. Also, you have to be at least 15 to sit in the exit row seat, and that was the only one available, so one flight attendant asked me if I was at least 15 years old. I'm just gonna pretend that she had to ask me that legally, not because I actually look 15. We were sitting on the floor of the Denver airport, and our flight just got delayed. It was supposed to leave at, I think, 9 o'clock. Then it said 10, then it said 10:15, 10:30, and now it just changed to 10:45. Oh my goodness, you guys, we're finally back in Chicago. Finally. It is 4 a.m. and it's already just. And just like that, I am back home. Looking back on this trip, I'm honestly surprised that not everyone makes the 2-hour drive from Yellowstone to spend just a couple extra days in Grand Teton. I think it's distinct in its own way, and the mountain views and sceneries really do make it look like a postcard come to life. Thanks for joining me on this journey, and I hope to see you on my next one. See you soon.